Stanco with Coach Realtors. I'm here today with Jeffrey Trebor from Links Mortgage, and the topic of our interview today is why rent when you can buy. So Jeffrey's going to fill you in on the advantages to buying versus renting. So let's get started, Jeff.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent conversation, and oftentimes it's, you're getting questions from first-time home buyers and their families alike, but there's a lot of different opportunities and a lot of outlets for first-time home buyers, and maybe things that they're not unsure of, and things that people like us can help fill them in on. One of the most important aspects to home buying and why you should maybe take that switch from rent to buy is to build equity. Everyone's heard the term building equity, but really what is it? That's really the difference between the value of the home and what you owe on it. But home buying will expose you to growing wealth for you and your family. But if you're going to continue to rent and pay the landlord's mortgage, you're never going to be able to experience and tap into those opportunities.
Right. And so, what a lot of first-time buyers think is, I've got to come down with 20%, right? Like if I'm going to buy, I need this 20%. It's always out there. People are always saying that, right? And so that's a myth, right? That's not the case. And so Jeffrey's company does have some programs, and there are other programs, state programs out there that could help you, right?
Totally.
With buying and not worrying about saving up that whole lump sum of 20% that everyone thinks you need.
Yeah, and I get asked all the time, do I need 20% to put down on a house? Is that the minimum that I need? But like you said, it's a myth. There's many programs available. On the conventional side, you have things such as the Home Ready, Home Possible loans. And then you also have on the FHA side, both of these can be used in what's called the seller's concession to also lower your closing costs. So now you're entering a home with a low down payment and low closing costs.
Right, exactly. And so as far as if you want to get started with the process of buying, what is the first step that you should take?
Yeah, well, the first step as a first-time home buyer is to get in, is to meet with a mortgage banker. You're maybe identified properties that you like, but until you get pre-qualified and until you know what you can actually afford is when you're going to be able to actually make that move and put in an offer on a home. So what we like to recommend is to come in, bring some of your financial documents. We can take a look at things such as your credit, your income, and your assets, and really set a budget with you and understand how that works in regards to your finances and how that fits into your already existing payments, such as your car or student loan. And you can figure out what you can afford and which direction you want to head. But start off is to get pre-approved. Working with a mortgage banker is really the first step.
Right, exactly, and that helps you determine what you really truly can afford, going forward, what you feel comfortable with as far as what you have saved up as a down payment. You already know what you're paying each month for rent, right? So that's probably a pretty comfortable number.
Yep.
But Jeffrey would be able to help you out with that and understanding, you've got your rent, but are you also paying utilities? When you buy a home, right, you've got utilities, obviously, you've got taxes to consider, so there are some added expenses. However, he will compile all of that to come up with a number, a monthly number that's going to work for you and make sense.
Right, and the first step is to identify the budget, as opposed to renting, where year over year your budget has to change because now you have to constantly adapt and establish a new budget for that next year. Homeownership allows you to already understand that you're gonna have consistent payments in regards to your monthly principal and interest.
Right, because rent, right? Rent goes up every year typically. That's just the norm. Doesn't go down, it goes up.
Right.
So when you purchase, then you're locked in a steady monthly payment. If it's 30-year term, which is typical, right? You're gonna stay at that same payment, and the only variables obviously are your utilities, which is always the case, even if you're paying utilities when
or
you're
even
renting.
property taxes.
Property taxes, right? You're gonna see a slight change, but that's normally not an increase that you're going to see that you'd see in a monthly rent.
Right, and it's not going to throw the budget off considerably. Whereas you're going to stay in the same property year over year. Your landlord's going to charge you every single year a higher figure. So that's going to break that might break the bank and break the budget. But moving into a fixed rate mortgage, you can set yourself up for the future and understand what payments might work best within your finances.
Great.
So.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Jeff, for coming down and sitting with me and enlightening some people on buying versus renting and putting some equity into something that you will eventually fully own. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.